Hi, I'm Shashank Bhargava, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. In this episode, we talk about two Indian Express investigations. One about the political violence in Bengal, and the other about police encounters in UP. And besides this, we also give you a quick update about political parties boycotting the inauguration of the new Parliament building. But we begin today with Bengal. For years now, West Bengal has witnessed some of the worst political violence in the country. In fact, in many ways, political violence has become synonymous with Bengal. And it only seems to be growing. Since 2018, the BJP has claimed that 224 of their supporters have been killed in clashes. And the CPM claims that 15 of theirs have died in the last 2 years. But the ruling Trinamool Congress dismisses this as propaganda. Though just how extreme this violence is can be judged from the fact that crude bombs regularly feature in these clashes. When we spoke to Indian Express's Ravik Bhattacharya, he told us that this has been the case for years.
See, crude bombs have been part of Bengal in pre-independence India. Molotov cocktail was part of it. But then later on, when left from regime came, and even before that, during the Naxalite movement, crude bomb was there. We used to call it Peto, Lal Shada, whatever. So it was there. But how it is being used as well as manufactured, distributed, dumped on the roadside, it has taken an enormous scale. And which is hardly reported in mainstream media or somebody who's outside Bengal.
And what is also not often reported is that over the years, children in the state have been critically injured and have died due to these crude bombs. According to an Indian Express investigation, between 2021 and 2022, 7 children lost their lives and 18 were critically injured across 5 districts in the state.
See, we could track a small section of the children who have died and who were injured because there's basically no data. The government refused to share data with us. The newspaper reports are only of a brief in local pages. So there's absolutely no data of how these children are caught in crossfire. How in neighborhoods crude bombs are either dumped or are hidden and these children are just simply picking it up thinking it's a ball, think it's a shiny metal object, and they are being killed. They are losing their arms, they're losing their fingers, they've been maimed for life. Their lives are changed. And the number is, as far as we could see, is huge. We could only track 7 children who died and around 18 who were injured. But I'm sure the number is much, much more than that.
Now, an example of how these bombs ended up hurting and killing children can be seen from what happened to the 11-year-old Mahesh Shaw and his friend Nikhil Paswan, who had been 8 years old.
See, it was Mahesh and his friend. What they did was what you and me used to do. Just after Diwali or Kali Puja, they went to play around in a small space near the railway tracks, near their house, and they were collecting, empty or firecrackers. Children, they go and they collect firecrackers and they try and get something out of it and try to play with it. So actually they went to play a small playground across the railway lines, but there they found a shiny metal object with a cross marked on it with black tape. They didn't know what it is. It's a shiny thing, so they picked it up and they tried to open it. The moment they tried to open it, so Nikhil picked it up and then showed it to Mahesh, and Mahesh then couldn't open it and gave it back to Nikhil. While Nikhil was opening it up, basically both of them were trying to pull it. There was a blast. It was a crude bomb. Nikhil died on the spot and Mahesh received critical injuries and later his palm has to be amputated.
And this is how most of the children died or got injured, by picking up the bombs that were left on the roadside or in a playground. When Ravik inquired about this, he found out that these bombs were just being kept for future use.
Generally, miscreants, they don't prefer to keep bombs in their homes. So they keep it in some secluded places, which are generally playgrounds, in some bush or some place. And, you can imagine the enormity of the problem is that there is so much crude bombs that it's been dumped or it's been kept out there and children are picking it up. That is the prime reason. Number 2 is that sometimes there is a police raid or anything happening in the area. Miscreants feel unsafe. So they dump the bombs on the roadside or near somebody's residence where children play and they're picking it up. These are the 2 basic reasons.
Now, during the investigation, Ravik realized that these children were from both urban and rural areas, but belonged to families that were middle class, lower middle class, and poor.
What is tragic about the entire thing, or what is moving about the entire thing, is that these children, according to their parents or according to them, to have spoken to the children, their entire lives have changed. Now, they yet to understand what happened. They don't know what is a crude bomb. They have heard about crude bombs. Now, for example, Nikhil has lost his life. His mother is saying that she has another son. She said, I cannot keep my son locked inside the room 24 hours a day. I have to let him out to play. Had it been some posh area in Kolkata, had somebody from a posh area in Kolkata had died in this manner, my home would have been flooded by media reports, but nobody has come to me to visit. Similarly, if you see Mahesh, Nikhil's friend, who has lost his arm, he, leave alone studies, he can't even take a bath by himself. His entire family is in trauma. Who will pay for the medical expenses?
And that is also what is really concerning about these cases, that none of the families have received any compensation from the state.
We spoke to the State Child Rights Commission and the National Child Rights Commission. They blame each other. There is no way these children are getting. Only one case in Bardhaman where rupees 2 lakh was given to the family who lost their son. That was because it was in 2021 during the assembly polls. In other cases, there is no provision of giving them compensation or providing them treatment, leave alone some sort of mechanism to heal their mental trauma. These children are still scared. Many of them still shout at night.
And Ravik says that even the police in the state are not that bothered by these cases, and they treat it like routine work.
See, in such cases, police comes in, police generally seizes some bombs, they do a post-mortem if the child has died. But even if there are arrests, apart from those where family members are involved, in the majority of the cases we have seen some people have been arrested, miscreants have been arrested. But it's easy for them to get bail. No one has seen them keeping it there. And it's like a very common thing. When we went around covering the story, we found that this is not in the priority of the law enforcement agency in Bengal. So there are pockets in the states where this thing is going on, uncontrolled. And we only get to know, or the police only acts when there is an incident. It is not that the seizures are not, the seizures are huge. In every district, police has been seizing crude bombs from rice fields, from somebody's home, on the roadside. But I guess the seizures are much less than expected.
And now the question is, why bombs? Why do political players and even miscreants use bombs instead of guns? And the answer is because they are cheap, easily accessible, and far more effective. Ravik tells us more.
There are basically two types of bombs. Apart from there are many types of bombs, but basically one is lethal, one is non-lethal. The lethal crude bomb makes a loud noise and you'll see smoke. And the non-lethal one has shards of glass, iron balls, etc. inside it, which acts like a bullet. So for a person who uses it, for the miscreants, if you want to scare the people, you don't want to, cause bodily harm, you lob a non-lethal one. And if you see during evening, if you lob a non-lethal crude bomb, the sound is heard from around a kilometer radius from the spot. So it gives the message you intend to give to people. No? Get away, move away, or whatever, we are here. In case of a lethal bomb, where, as I told you, there are splinters inside, when you lob it, the splinters act like a bullet and you get much more casualties, be it injuries or even death. So it is cost effective. If you buy bombs in a bulk, it will cost you around rupees 150 to rupees 100 per piece.
So 100 to 150 rupees a piece. That's how cheap bombs are in Bengal. And they get used because, unlike a handgun, they can kill multiple people at the same time. Moreover, the raw materials used to make a bomb are almost the same as firecrackers. And so they are readily available in wholesale markets.
And people who are experts in bomb making and people who are interested in making or manufacturing a bomb, they have a chain system where they get the raw materials are easily available to them. You need a secluded place, preferably a pond. If there's no pond, then it's okay. You need simply a small room and maybe 2 or 3 experts, maybe one expert and 2 helpers to make a bomb, around 500 bombs in a day. So it's very easy to make. The raw material is available. You just need a secluded place.
Ravik says that while investigating the story and tracking down the children and their families, the main challenge was that there was absolutely no data available.
Nobody was willing to share any data. We tried various websites. We tried to go with the state police. We tried a National Child Rights Commission, State Child. Nobody helped us. So when we went to find it, we had to go through all old newspapers, local Bengali vernacular newspapers, to get a clipping, go to that village, and then ask them whether such similar incidences happened near the area or somebody else. Then slowly they would say, yeah, my son has died. I had heard that 10 kilometers down the line, another children has died. So in this way, we had to track police station. Obviously, as you know, they are not very cooperative. Then we have to track each case, what happened to them. Either they have been bailed or people have been arrested. It was difficult. But what the main problem we faced, and the issue here, is that there is no data, there is no mechanism to identify if such children who have died or who are critically injured in crude bomb blasts, some way to help them, some way to track them. That mechanism we found was not there. It is not that only we had difficulty, but I think there should be a mechanism to track them, because we understand the numbers are much, much more, but there is no data on this field.
He says that looking back at the investigation, what stands out to him are the children's faces, who died just because of senseless political violence.
We couldn't share half of the pictures we clicked because they were so gory. When we went to villages in Murshidabad, Malda, North 24, South 24, Bardhaman, Birbhum, the faces of the children who have lost their entire arms, children who don't have fingers, children with splinter injuries, school children who have dropped out, who have no way, their family doesn't know what to do with the children with no arms. That is the thing, and the lack of awareness about this. Nobody is bothered. It's a routine case for the police. If you ask the politician cutting across all political colors, they'll say it's very unfortunate. The opposition will say, blame the ruling party. The ruling party will say, we are doing our best. The police is doing their best. But that's it.
And next we talk about police encounters in UP. For the Yogi Adityanath-led BJP government in UP, cracking down on crime has been its central focus. It has also been one of the main poll promises that first got this government elected back in 2017 and then again in 2022. But with this crackdown, there has also been a very high number of police encounters. In fact, an investigation by the Indian Express has found out that since Yogi Adityanath took charge as the chief minister in 2017, the state has witnessed 186 police encounters. That works out to more than one alleged criminal being killed by the police every 15 days. To talk about this rise in police encounters and what the UP police's stance is on the matter, Indian Express's Bhupendra Pandey joins my colleague Rahel Philipose.
So Bhupendra, the crackdown on crime has been a cornerstone of the Yogi Adityanath-led government in UP. But could you tell us how exactly it's been doing that?
Yeah, actually what has happened since after 2017, when Yogi Adityanath took over the reins here in UP as Chief Minister, his primary aim was looking at law and order. And according to him, because he has spoken so many times in assembly, whenever he's giving interviews or even in his speeches, he always mentions this, that he has made UP crime free, or he has made the criminals either leave Uttar Pradesh or they have been gunned down. So that was the thing. I mean, the UP police had that police encounters, according to them, is the only way to crack on criminals and reduce crime rate.
Right. And speaking of these encounters, in your investigation, you found that since 2017, the state has witnessed 186 police encounters in total, which is a lot. Is there a particular branch of the UP police that's tasked with cracking down on criminals and gangsters?
Yeah, actually, there is a team in every district. In each district, which look after the special teams, which keep a watch on criminals who are either wanted or who have more than 10 cases or even several cases against them. Those are the special teams, especially like Special Task Force. In Uttar Pradesh, there is a police unit called Special Task Force. So they look after organized crime and the criminals. And they actually are engaged in keeping a watch on such criminals. And majority of the police encounters are done by UPSTF. If we talk about 186 criminals killed in encounters, 30% or 35% were done by UPSTF.
Right. And Bhupendra, you also got a chance to speak with the UP Police's Special DG for Crime, Law and Order, Prashant Kumar. How did he justify the rising number of encounters in the state?
Actually, what he says, or even the CM also at some point of time replies on it whenever asked about the police encounters, because opposition also keep raising on number of encounters rising. But the officer says that the police don't have in their mind that they have to kill someone. They just say because they are after the criminals, and when criminals attack, only then police retaliate. But he also says that such encounters send message down the line among the criminals. It helps also in checking the crime incidents. Actually, he gave an example, the latest police encounter killing, which happened on May 14, in which two criminals were gunned down in Jalaun district, which is in Bundelkhand and it is in Kanpur zone. So these two criminals were killed within a week of, actually they had attacked a police constable, according to the police officer. This police constable was on duty, and in late evening, he saw these two criminals moving over there and he suspect them. And then when he started chasing them, these two criminals attacked and killed the police constable. And within a week of the police constable killed, these two criminals were gunned down. So he gave this example just to prove that it's not only police which just pick up the criminal and kill them.
Okay, and in situations like this, what is the due process? What happens to police officials that are involved in these encounters?
Actually, there is a set procedure for years, say for decades. The police officers involved in the encounter, say it may be a senior IPS rank officer and a police constable. So it's a team of 6 or 7 or 8 policemen who usually are involved in a police encounter and in such an operation. After each of such encounter killings, a magisterial inquiry is set up. A magistrate in the district administration, he is assigned a job to inquire into the encounter killing. So he actually seeks statement from the family concerned, or the person or the criminal who is killed, his family, or anyone from the society, or anybody can come over and he can give his evidence against or pro police. And then magistrate decides over it, whether he is giving clean chit or whether he is writing a report against the police that this is a wrong encounter. Yeah, police did not follow the procedures.
Right. But during your investigation, have you found out if any official has actually been held accountable by the magistrate for an encounter?
I haven't seen any such magisterial inquiry where police is not given a clean chit. If you can take these 186 encounters in last 5 years, in more than 70% cases, police are given clean chit in such magisterial inquiry. Also, the police team involved in a police encounter has to investigate the case. Because they just say that they were chasing or they were trying to lay hand on that particular criminal and he started firing at the police team and police team retaliated and he died. So they file a closure report because since the man is no more, the criminal is killed. So there is no meaning of charge sheet or running a case against him. So they file a closure report in the court and they have to mention each and every minute things in that. How did it happen? How did it start and how did it happen? And the closure report is filed in the local court and local court has to take a call on it, whether the police report is right or wrong or there is some flaw in it. So court accepts it or rejects it. Again, in these 186 cases of encounter, in more than 75% cases, court has accepted the closure report. Only few are pending. More than some 25 or some cases are pending because in some cases investigation is still on at police level.
And Bhupendra, have these crackdowns and police encounters actually brought down the crime rate in the state?
Yeah, actually, there are some crime incidents especially like robbery and dacoity, especially the road holdups. And actually, these crimes are seen reducing because especially in West UP, if you see road holdups, robberies on highways, those were very high numbers of cases were being lost during, 2016 or 17. So that crime has been reduced, we can say. Murders do take place. But if you see in the number of criminals gunned down in police encounters, majority, I must say more than 50% criminals killed had murder cases against them. There are few against whom more than 12 murders, 15 murders, 18 murder cases. But yes, there are some crime incidents which still we cannot say that those crime have been actually come down. But yes, some effect is seen somewhere. In some regions. Actually, in some cases, there is a fear among criminals or anybody who are offenders. Because in other states also, people say that UP about Yogi Adityanath, because he is known for encounters and bulldozer. So according to him, it is giving a strong message and it is helping in keeping check on crime and criminals.
And in the end, we give you a quick update about the upcoming inauguration of the new Parliament building. On Wednesday, 19 opposition parties issued a joint statement to boycott the inaugural event that is scheduled for the 28th of May. The parties have said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's decision to inaugurate the parliament instead of President Draupadi Murmu violates the letter and the spirit of the constitution. Here is Congress General Secretary K.C. Venugopal saying why they feel this is the case.
You see that President given summons to the Lok Sabha member for convening parliament. President used to prorogue the parliament session. The president is the integral part of the parliament. Of course, president is the head of the nation. Along with the head of the nation, the president is the integral part of the Parliament of India also. Now we are very much proud of.
In the joint statement, the opposition parties have said, quote, Prime Minister Modi's decision to inaugurate the new Parliament building by himself, completely sidelining President Murmu, is not only a grave insult, but a direct assault on our democracy, which demands a commensurate response. Unquote. Now, this is not the first time that the opposition parties have spoken out about this issue. It's worth noting that most of these opposition parties had previously stayed away from the foundation-laying ceremony of the new Parliament building in December 2020. Yesterday, Uddhav Thackeray's Shiv Sena leader Sanjay Raut also spoke to reporters about why the party is against the entire Central Vista project, which the new Parliament building is a part of.
सबसे पहला ये सवाल हमने भी उठाया था सेंट्रल विस्टा प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में कि देश की आर्थिक स्थिति खराब है, फिर भी लाखों करोड़ों रुपया, सैकड़ों करोड़ रुपया खर्चा करके जिस तरह से प्रोजेक्ट को सिर्फ प्रधानमंत्री की इच्छा के लिए बनाया, क्या उसकी जरूरत थी? आज जो देश की संसद की इमारत है, पार्लियामेंट हाउस है, वो और 100 साल चल सकती है.
The opposition leaders have also said that the scheduled inauguration by the PM undermines the spirit of inclusion, which was seen when the nation celebrated its first woman Adivasi president.
Now we are very much proud of. You people are every time telling that we are proud of a women tribal president. The way in which you undermine the president of India, the first woman tribal president of India, where is the justification? You are violating the constitutional principles. We are violating the protocols. You are violating the customs. That is why we...
Now, in contrast to this stance, the Bahujan Samaj Party Supremo Mayawati called the boycott unfair and stated that the central government has the right to unveil the new building. However, while expressing support for the government's decision, Mayawati clarified that she won't be able to attend the event due to prior engagements. While some non-BJP parties, including the Shiromani Akali Dal, Telugu Desam Party and the Biju Janata Dal have confirmed their presence at the inauguration, the controversy surrounding the event continues. You were listening to Three Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by Rahel Philipose, Utsa, Sarmin and me, Shashank Bhargava. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can leave us a review or a comment. Our team reads all of them. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it, share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Audio and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.